This week on the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast.
Yeah, and then shortly after, like maybe a year later, it caught on fire and the whole thing burned up. So
Sorry,
that was like, yeah. So if you go out and research it, yeah, the fire, it's so funny, Dennis. What is so funny? People might
that
have
was wrong. That was wrong.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, you know, and just a year later, the thing caught on fire and burned to the ground.
Yeah.
So.
Hi, I'm Chad the Quirky Picker. I'm a full-time reseller from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Hi everyone, I'm Denis the Free King Flipper. I'm a full-time reseller from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Join us each week as we discuss life as a full-time reseller. We will share our experiences, both the good and the not so good.
Learn from our expertise and our mistakes.
From sourcing to listing to shipping,
Customer interactions, we will cover it all.
this is the Full-Time Flippers
Reselling Podcast.
Welcome to the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast, episode 17. Dennis, what's that on your shirt there?
Woo!
Something. Oh, the Celtics. Give us a little Celtics update.
3-0, baby. 3-0. Tonight, well, we're recording on a Friday, and tonight is game 4. So, yeah, get your brooms ready, man. Get your broom out there, maybe a push broom, nice little straw broom, a witch's broom, whatever you want to do, because it's going to be a sweep.
Mm-hmm. You going to go to the game?
Yeah, I tried to get a pair of tickets for, I think they were $22,000 for the pair.
Nice. When's the last time Boston's won it all? What year?
Oh, wait. That was with KG and Pierce and all them, Ray Allen. That was the big 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
20,
so I can't wait.
16 years? 18 years? 16.
So
yeah.
We win this championship, we go back up on top with the most banners, 18 banners. So we'll break that tie with the Lakers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the game's original monarchy back on top.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we should be. So anyway, this is a reselling podcast.
Yes. Did I introduce us yet? Or did we just go straight to the, okay.
No, he's under the weather, folks. So bear with him, but we're going to make it fun anyway.
Yeah. So if this is your first time watching, I am Chad the Quirky Picker, and I'm here with my co-host.
I am Denis the Free King Flipper.
We are full-time resellers. We aren't YouTubers. We don't make money on YouTube. We both just love doing this podcast because we get to talk to each other about full-time reselling and about our day-to-day happenings that we experience. So it's Friday at the time of this recording. Denis, how was your reselling week?
This week was slow. I had like 2 good days, and the rest were just I even got package shamed today because I went to the post office, and normally I take 2 trips because I get those, the bins, and I take one in and then a bag over my shoulder, run back out, get the other bin, and I've just one trip, and the same guy's like, "That's it, no second trip." I'm like, no, not today.
No.
So he loves doing that to me. He knows it's funny, and he knows about package shaming too. So, Jason, if you're watching, I appreciate all your help and all your laughter and humor. So, but yeah, it's been slow. Hopefully this weekend picks up a bit. I don't think I'm at my quota, and I hate when it's Friday and I'm like that close, because you have to depend on a good weekend, Last week, or the week before that, I hit my quota on Tuesday. So, I mean, it was ripping, like 2 crazy days. So that's just eBay. I mean, I did make some Poshmark sales, which will definitely help. It's kind of like my emergency fund. If eBay tanks, I can depend on some sales through Posh. But that was like 3 good weeks in a row, and then this week just came to a halt. I don't know. Can't explain it.
Yeah. I'm having a bad week too. Last week I made all the money I needed to by like Saturday. This week, I mean, it's Friday and I'm not even close yet. So I did sell a couple items today worth almost $100. And
nice.
I went to an estate sale this morning. I went to a yard sale and an estate sale. I went to the yard sale. I found 4 vintage plush which might make me $10 to $15 each. They were 50 cents each. So $2 into possibly 60. And I found another item that is going to be, I think, my home run. We'll share that in a little bit, but I am excited to show it. But I'll wait. Then I went to an estate sale, and I was outside, and there's a lady that was parked in the driveway, and then she starts backing out, and then she yells out the window, "Hey!" She's like, "Is anybody here?" I'm like, I don't know. It starts at 8:00. Well, I've been here like 10 minutes walking around, and there's nobody here, and there's no cars in the driveway. I don't understand what's going on here. And I said, well, it was advertised on Facebook, pay whatever you want. And I'm like, maybe they just have like a thing to put money in. I don't know. So we're standing around watching, and some guy comes around the corner of the front of the house, and the lady's like, "Is this your estate sale?" And he's like, "Yeah." He just woke up, and it's an indoor-outdoor yard sale. So I was outdoors, and I was looking. He had a stereo system and some other stuff, like some lawnmower blades. I make pretty good money on lawnmower blades, especially like mulch blades and stuff. They're overlooked. That's a boatload for another episode. I'll have to show some if I can remember. Yeah. I have a very short memory, except I have this podcast now to document it. So I walk in the house, and it is obvious this guy was sleeping on the couch, and the room just reeks of smoke. And I'm like, my eyes are burning within 10 seconds. And I'm like, if there's anything in here worth money, it's ruined. I don't know how. I mean, I have an ozone to take the smoky smell out of product, but I'm not going to do that. I mean, if there was a home run in there, I might have bought it, but it was like little $10, $20 items that maybe I could have got for $2 to $5. And so I just walked out of the house, and then I bought the stereo system for $20 or $10, 5 and 5. It was an amplifier and a tuner that you need them both for it to work. And then I bought those lawnmower blades for $10, and the blades should bring like $50. The stereo should bring maybe 60 or 70 if it works. Wow. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to throw it away because there's a bunch of them for parts. That scares me when there's more for sale for parts than there are working. It's like this Pioneer does not have a good track record. I mean, it wasn't top of the line or anything. So, but the item that I found at the yard sale made my whole morning. So then I was like, I don't care if I don't find anything else today. Sorry, I have a cold. So if I don't laugh at your jokes today, it's not that you're not funny. It's just that I'm going to laugh on the inside, maybe a little more than the outside today.
All right. I like that.
It keeps me from coughing. I could have taken a nap right now and called off today, but this podcast is just more important than my health. That's all I can say. Being with Denis, talking reselling. Yeah. If it doesn't come out on Monday, it's because I died. So hopefully.
That's it. You might be seeing the last one, guys. You never know.
Yes. So. Yeah. All my merchandise is going to skyrocket in value if that's the case.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's move on to viewer mail. Each one of us will share at least one viewer comment. What do you have, Denis?
This one comes from Dan in Demand. And we were talking about those WWF ticket stubs that I had last week. And he says, I would pick up the WWF ticket stubs. I'm a sucker and get drawn into anything wrestling because I'm a fan. To be truthful, I do know some ticket stubs have value. And he is absolutely right, because we showed last week some of the sold comps on eBay, and they were $100 to $300, $400, $500 for ticket stubs. So Dan, thanks for the comment. Thanks for watching. And I'll be on the lookout for more of them. I learned something that day, and hopefully I can find some more. I don't know. People love wrestling stuff. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple reselling podcasts where they talk about wrestling almost every episode. And I'm like, I'm not a wrestling fan, so fast forward past that part. But apparently they must think they have enough wrestling demographics to make it worth the ratings.
I guess. All I know, it's 100% real. So that's all I know about wrestling.
Yes. Not fake at all. Right. They do not know who's going to win before they start.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's
they
great.
Can't possibly. My comment comes from Rick Rotman. I think he's from the Hagerstown area, which is where my in-laws are from. I hope to maybe hook up with him this summer and go yard sailing. We'll be out there in July. I'm going to see if he can meet me. But he says, good show, guys. And in reference to my time machine last week of Jeff Hostetler's, my wife's cousin, I would pick up some Jeff Hostetler merchandise. He said that he saw Jeff play in person January 15th, 1994. He's very specific. The Raiders versus Buffalo Bills. He said he was a huge Raiders fan. And I think obviously Jeff was the quarterback of the Raiders at the time because he never quarterbacked Buffalo. But he was in the Air Force and in New York. And he said it was the coldest he's ever been in his life. The wind chill was negative 40 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. I went to a Ohio State game and it was so cold one time. I left just in the middle of the third quarter. I was sitting on my hands and I could not thaw them out with gloves. So, yeah. I know what that's like, but not Buffalo. That's just Columbus cold. It's a different type of cold. Buffalo gets the Lake Erie effect. Yeah.
Yes. And it just is the driest, just ripping like right through you winds that come off that lake. And it's wow.
All right. Let's move on to story time. An interesting story of reselling past or present. Dennis, you have any stories you want to share with us?
This was yesterday. What's today? Today's Friday. Yeah. So yesterday I get a call from a friend of a friend. I don't know this person. And he's explaining that he needs to move out of his house and sell the house and clean it out and all that stuff. So he knows what I do. And he says, quote, I'm a hoarder. And I said, no. We call them collectors. And he goes, no, I'm a hoarder. I said, oh okay. Appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
So he gives me the address and I head on over there and I was not ready for this. I think of all the shows that you watch and all that stuff, the hoarding and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I get in there and I realize that you can't even get into one of the bedrooms. There's just stuff everywhere. And it's not trash either. It's not junk and trash and didn't smell.
Mm-hmm.
So because if that's the case, I'm like, guy, I'm not paying for a lot of this stuff. I'm going to do you a favor and just take it out of there for free. But he had cases and cases and cases, boxes of wrestling figures. And they were all from ECW, WWE, WWF, all types of them. And he really was pushing to get rid of those. And I'm like, it's not really my thing. And I'm not a huge wrestling fan anyway. So anyway, I scanned a couple of them and I'm like, $10 to $15, like that's it. And I even showed him, I'm like, there's not going to be a lot that I can do with this unless I get them really cheap. And he was not willing to do that. So I said, okay, no worries. And then he showed me another bedroom and I picked up some video games, a PS2. I picked up some DS games. I picked up a DS, like a pink DS. Thing was mint. Like the screen was gorgeous.
Wow.
And then on the floor of this bedroom, like no one sleeps in there. There's just crap everywhere. On the floor of the bedroom, I look down and I see something that I will tell you about in a few minutes.
It's got to be a video game. It's got to be a video game.
It blew my mind.
All right. Well, my story time is I'm going to go back a few years into the Quirky Picker past. I was at a yard sale and a guy used to be in the fire department and he had a fireman's helmet and it was nice. Like it was a real fireman's helmet, not decor. Although you could have used it easily as decor. So I looked it up. There's like a brand in the inside and I looked it up and they were selling for over $1,000, these fireman's helmets. And I said, how much you want for this helmet? And he's like, $400. Do I spend $400 to make $1,000? So I say, how about $300? And he's like, no. I'm like, shoot. So I walk away. I'm looking at some other stuff, talking to my wife. She was with me. And I come back and I said, $350. I can go $350. He's like, no, I need $400. And I'm like, wow. I have $400 in my wallet. Do I spend $400 on a fireman's helmet? So I did it. I bought the fireman's helmet. Brought it home. Yep. I'm like, if I can sell it for $1,000, I'm going to do it. So I bring it home, start doing some research on it. And I list it for, I'm like, okay, I'm going to list it for $1,000. I start getting emails, messages from people on eBay saying, what's the date on this helmet? And I'm like, I didn't know it had one. I didn't realize, I didn't know that was important. So I am like, it looks like it's about 9 years old. Okay. I can't buy it because my fire department doesn't let me have any helmets that are more than 10 years old or have been through 2 fires. How many fires has this helmet been through? And I'm like, I didn't know. I do remember the guy telling me that it had actually been in a burning building. So maybe 1, I don't know about 2. I couldn't, he couldn't buy it. Then the next guy is like, hey, I need this helmet. How many fires has it been through? And I'm like, oh crap. All these ones that were selling for more than $1,000, they were newer. They had years left on them and they hadn't been through fires. Apparently it can become brittle. I don't know, maybe brittle over time.
Right. Yeah.
So now I'm like, oh shoot, how much are they selling for decor? And I'm looking and I'm like, $500, maybe $600. So I put it up for auction at $500 and I'm like, I just want my money back. I don't want to wait anymore.
Yeah.
And I got a bid for 500. Then I got a bid for 550 and I got a bid for 600. And I think it sold for 650. And I'm like, okay, but so eBay takes its 15% or whatever off of $650, which is 65 and then 35, almost $100 that goes to eBay. And it wasn't free shipping, I don't think. So then I'm down to 550. So I think I cleared a little more than $100 after, taking out my tax money, but I was a little nervous that I'm like, oh no, what have I done? I'm not going to get $1,000. I don't know when I might not get anything for this, but the guy bought it for a man cave. So $650 for a fireman's helmet. It was pretty cool. I wish I had a picture of it, but it's been too long. I might have it on my phone somewhere in the Google Images archives, but I didn't look it up. So that's my story. I don't have a conclusion, but.
So that's something I should be looking for, but I think it's almost 2 different things. Yeah. Something that someone's actually going to buy and use, or someone they're just going to put on the shelf for decor. Right. So I'd have to price it or buy it according to what I'm going to do with it. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. I didn't know. So I mean, just if it's more than 10 years old or it's been through 2 fires, I think put that in your listing and then you're covered. Right. If they didn't read it, that's their own fault, I guess. I mean, yeah. And then you're looking for that decor price range.
Yeah.
Versus like a 2 or 3 year old helmet that hasn't seen any fires. You're going to get that 1,000 plus.
Yeah. Wow. This one had the fire department badge on the front. Had the name on the side of the department number in leather. I mean, it was cool. It was worth $400 for sure. And then I was just gambling on how much profit I was going to make, but I was much more hopeful I was going to get 1,000, but I was just happy to not lose money. Home runs and strikeouts, your best and worst sales of the week. You have a home run for us and strikeout for us, Dennis?
I have both. This was a $5 buy at an estate sale last week. And I put it on my Instagram, and I even said, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Olympus stylus cameras, point and shoot. It was, I don't know if mine is in here, should be, but it was this model right here, this Olympus stylus zoom.
Yeah.
And they're all $100 plus. It's just when you see that little case and like no one's even looking in it because they don't think they're worth anything.
Yeah.
These cameras are great. This thing sold probably within 30 minutes. And
what'd you say you got for it?
$100 plus shipping. Paid $5 at the estate sale. And I was going to buy another one, except the battery door wouldn't open.
That's a bad sign.
I'm sitting there trying to slide. I'm like, this thing's probably completely corroded out. And I just left it. It wasn't an Olympus. It was a Sony. And that one was going for like $70. I was just like, I have enough project cameras and project electronics. I just passed on it. So this was great. This paid for almost the entire day.
Nice.
Of sourcing. So that is my home run. And my strikeout, I sold another one of these today. Yeah.
Coke bottle.
Modern Coke bottle. This one is a David Ortiz Big Poppy. Fake signature right there.
Yeah.
It's what is this? 8 ounces. All right. I picked up the 5 years ago. They were at the local grocery store, and you could buy a 6-pack. I think he was retiring. I believe that this was all about. So I've had them on there for $15 a bottle, down to $12, down to $10, down to $8. This one sold. What did I sell it for? It was $9.99 with free shipping.
Ooh,
Get rid of this.
it's gonna be a
$2.30.
12 ounces, maybe.
And then you got to wrap them. Plus the glass is the bottle with right here as it sits is 15 ounces. So you're over a pound.
Yep.
So you breach that pound. It's probably 1.4, something like that. But the shipping was almost the same price as the item. I'm like, these things, I should probably just take them off of eBay and, store them somewhere so they can collect dust and be worth nothing. But what's this? 2016 is the date on it. Yeah, 2016. So did I make money? Probably in the long run. I've sold enough of these at $15 to $16. But yeah, for me, it's a strikeout because it's a waste of bubble wrap, packaging, and a waste of my time.
Yeah.
$2.30. So
get a bottle opener. Drink it. Just drink it.
It's from 26. I don't drink Coke, so I'd actually just pour it out. It should have been my 2 truths and a lie. I don't drink soda.
You could have saved it, Dennis.
A good one. I wasted a good one.
I had a friend that he went to Canada and bought a Mountain Dew in Canada because it's sweeter. I think they used real sugar back in the day. It was like in the 1980s, and he put it on his mantle. It was a bottle, and he was going to open it on his wedding day and drink it. And several years went by, and his friends went into his house one day when he wasn't home, opened up the bottle, dumped out the Mountain Dew, and then put other Mountain Dew in it, and then sealed it back up again and never told him. So I don't know how the story ended, but that is a good joke. I know he got married, so at some point he opened it, but maybe he realized when it didn't fizz that something fishy was going on, and maybe he didn't.
That's gross.
Drink it.
Mountain Dew is the worst.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I love it. I love it. The taste of it, but it's the worst for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up on Mountain Dew. Yeah. I drink Mountain Dew, and when I ran out of Mountain Dew, then I would drink water back in my 20s, and now I'm paying for it. My wife says how you treat your body in your 30s is how it comes back to you in your 50s. And I'm like, I'm screwed.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. My home run is an item that I bought this morning. I'm calling my shot like Babe Ruth, like you did last week. This is going to be a home run. What is it? I bought a 65 quart Yeti cooler. Have you ever seen the big Yeti coolers? All right. I'm going to share my screen here.
I don't think so. How big?
65 quarts. You'll see it in a second. So if I look at how many actives there are none, which is kind of weird because, these are these are actives. I listed mine today. It should be there, but it's not. If we look at solds in the last year, 3 have sold in the last year. $600, $225 at auction, and $499. That person that sold that at auction had no idea what they were doing. They could have got, I would say, at least $499. It's coral in color. So here's mine that I just listed today.
Wow. That's a big one.
It's pretty big. It filled, you could put like 6 gallons of milk in there. And I took a magic eraser to it because it did have a lot of scuffs, and it cleaned up really nice. How do I do this? The only stain was
it's because of the color. Is that why it's getting
coral.
So much money?
There's blue ones. There's other white ones, and there's a little. I'm getting myself dizzy here. There's a little scuffing on the bottom. I think I took a picture of the bottom. Oh, there's the inside. I mean, this thing is sweet. I never knew they existed. I knew there was Yeti tumblers, but I didn't realize Yeti made these massive coolers. This is the bottom. I cleaned up the feet. Mm-hmm. It's really nice. So what do you think I paid for it? What would you have paid for a $500?
Where did you get it? Yard sale, thrift
Yep.
store, yard sale. You paid, for some reason, I want to say like $25. You stole it, but I'll go up to 50.
I paid 50. Yeah. I wasn't going to pay 50 until I looked it up, and I'm like, well, I know all the other ones are bringing in 250, and I couldn't find coral. But then I think I was spelling coral wrong or something. But if I go back like farther, there's a lot of solds if I go back more than a year. But I will turn 50 into 500, and I'm calling my shot now that I'm going to get 500.
I believe it. I mean, you're going to be the only game in town. That's like you're the only one that has it on there. Wow.
I don't know why it's not showing up on Terra Peak. Still not there. Speaking of things not showing up on eBay, a few weeks ago, I had some golf clubs in my store, and I'm like, why aren't these things selling? And I look them up on eBay, and they're not in my store. And I'm like, somehow they got taken down. So I relisted them, and they sold this week. So I was out on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I have the golf clubs on Facebook as well. So I'm like, I want to make sure these are the right ones. So I went on eBay and typed in the name of the golf clubs, and it was back on eBay. They weren't showing my listing at the time when I researched them the first time. And then suddenly they're back in my store, and there they are. Because I hate taking the extra time to list something, or I could have double sold them. I wouldn't have known they were even there just when I looked on Facebook. So did my Yeti cooler come up for you?
I found it. Yeah.
eBay, what are you doing? eBay doesn't want me to buy it. My strikeout was, these are Tyco Healthcare electrode patches. I guess like you have these machines that do electrolysis on your body. And these are just like generic pads. I don't think they're prescription. At least I was able to sell them. But they were just in a box full of stuff that I bought. And so I'm like, why not? I sold them for $11, but they had been in my store almost 2 years. And that was the first offer. I don't even know what I started them off at, but I took $11. So I probably had them like at $20 to start with, because I think they are a little bit expensive. So yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but I'm never buying them again.
I think they go on almost like a muscle. They stick to your arm, and they're supposed to like stimulate the muscle for some reason, some type of.
When I would go to the chiropractor, I don't know if I can zoom in on this or not. They were using this for a while to help with my back. Using it. I should have took my own. Then they could have knocked a couple bucks off my appointment. Anyhow, that is my strikeout. Moving on to BOLOs and NOLOs. One thing to be looking for and one thing that you wouldn't buy again. Go for it, Dennis.
All right. So yes, one thing to be looking for. I have been looking for this for weeks, if not a few months now. Okay. And I cannot believe how difficult it is to find this. This is just a Blu-ray, right? It's what's his name? Kevin Smith. He did Clerks. He did Clerks. He did a couple of them. Anyway, I'm trying to do the research on why this Blu-ray. It's now out of print, and it's not even that old. You would think that there would be they would still be making this. The reason why is I think the rights of this were sold, and then the company said that's it. We're not going to be showing this on TV, Netflix, nothing. So whatever is out there is out there. So you can see these pre-owned for $60, $80, $75 for pre-owned Blu-ray. There's a few other ones. I think new was almost $100. Well, this guy went to auction. Here you go, brand new, $145.
Wow,
it's crazy. That's just May 27th, so we're not really that far.
Yeah.
Here's June 12th. 3 of them sold in June 12th. They're calling it rare, out of print. Look for this. I know you'll find it. If you can get the DVD version, I believe the DVD version is not as sought after. Yeah, maybe. I know you're going to find one of these at a yard sale. I know you are. I know you're going to find it at a thrift store.
I don't think I've ever found it, but I haven't been looking for it specifically either.
Right. Now that your brain and eyes are connected, you're like, boom, I got one.
Yeah.
So you watch, I'll find one this weekend, and it's just how it works, right? All right. Yeah, so my my Nolo, and this is a real crappy Nolo. I'm going to turn it into a Bolo.
Okay.
So my Nolo is actually like baby stuff, like you see at every yard sale. And there's just baby junk and clothes and baby crap everywhere. The only thing that I look for when I'm going to yard sales and I see a whole spread of baby stuff, toys, used bottles, like, come on. This company right here, Bob, B-O-B.
Oh, yeah. Real expensive.
All right. So look at just like replacement tires, you know,
Man.
$30-$40. I wouldn't suggest you buying one of these to ship, but a local
Take
sale,
the tires
you pick
off.
one up.
Oh,
Yeah, and if it's trashed, like you could probably get this thing for almost free if it's like junky or trash. Look at the front little wheels, these wheels. You know, you part it out. Someone, what, a shock absorber they're selling? It's just nuts. So,
if somebody has a Bob, they know what they have, and they're probably still trying to sell it if it's junk.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You gotta come out my way and see what these people are willing to just throw out on the curb.
Right.
It's insane. But look at this one, brand new, $450. Like, that's crazy. Even used, like a simple one like this, $180. So this is another brand to get into your encyclopedia of kind of things to start looking for. Yeah, they definitely sell, and the sell-through rate on that stuff is great. Part it out, find it for free. Part it out, find it at the side of the road, find it at a yard sale at the end of the day, and they're just like, I just want it gone. Hey, $20, something like that. So yeah, I love that brand. I've only found it twice, and I sold both of them locally on Marketplace.
I bought a dual stroller because we needed one. My wife wanted one. I paid like $3 at a yard sale, but it wasn't a Bob. But I got it home and the tires were flat. When I pumped up the tires and pushed it around the block the first time, the tires all blew up. Like they expanded. So I had to go out and buy new tubes. They expanded so much that they knocked the tires right off the rims. So I had to buy 3 tubes for it. And so I guess if you're buying an old one that's got flat tires, beware that you might have to put new tubes on it before you sell it. My Bolo is something I just sold this week. It's a 1970s black light velvet poster.
Cool.
It's a Jaguar. I got $69 for it. And,
that's crazy.
Yep. It even had a little bit of mold on the corner there. I'm pointing to it. That was cheaper than some of the other ones have sold for. It's got a ripped corner here. But any of these black light posters from the 1970s, they are highly collectible. And I paid $1 for this one at my neighbor Tim's yard sale, the guy that had all the stereos. And velvet print was this one. And there's the back.
Oh, I see it. 35 by 23. It's a pretty good sized poster.
Yeah. And so be on the lookout for velvet posters from the 1970s or blacklight posters. And you can carry like a blacklight UV flashlight. I have one actually, I think because it works for uranium glass as well. But I know there's different temperatures of black lights, and I don't know if uranium and posters need the same one or not. But if you do carry a black light, be on the lookout for them. If you're not already, most resellers probably are. You have one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's normally what I use.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's not the smallest one, but it definitely does the job. I look a little weird when I'm like walking through a thrift store and I'm flashing it and stuff, but they know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Right. All right. And my Nolo is tube light bulbs. Because they're not even supposed to sell them anymore. This style. This is the E17. I think that means 17 centimeter base. I bought these before I realized I couldn't technically sell them on eBay. You have to list them. You have to leave what type of bulb it is blank, and then you can list them. And, I'm skirting the system. I hope nobody gives me hate comments because of them. Yeah. To the police. So I bought 160. I have 130 of these, and I'm selling them in lots of 10. And this was the first one that I sold for $10, but I've had them a long time. I bought these last summer. So
oh, wow.
I paid $5 for a box full of light bulbs. So now I've made my money back, and I'm just going to probably drop them down to real cheap to see if anybody buys them.
What would these be used for specifically? The longer
I'm going to guess ovens, different appliances.
Okay.
Different appliances from the 70s and 80s, 90s. I don't know what else you'd use them for, but maybe some reading lights or something. But
yeah,
they're 25 watts, and probably the new LEDs are 3. So I wouldn't really want to buy them, but maybe for some reason, I thought when these light bulbs aren't sold anymore, the demand would go up as people wanted them.
Right.
But I don't think that's really happening right now. For sure, you can't sell these in California. I don't even know if they can show this to California. Someone in California one time said they're not even allowed to sell or buy incandescent light bulbs. Moving on to customer service. Talk about your most interesting customer interactions from the last week. You have one for us, Dennis?
Yeah, this was interesting. I did something for the first time, which is cool. You know how I sell tons of media. This was a brand new sealed Blu-ray. It was, I believe it was Planet Earth or something through was that Discovery Channel. Anyway, real nice, brand new, sealed, nothing. Bought, paid for, shipped out, and then it got delivered. And I think a day later, reached out to me and said, "Hey, this thing won't play." And I said, "Oh, okay, it's brand new. It's sealed." Mm-hmm. And I said, "Did you try, X, Y, and Z? Did you try?" "Yeah, no, tried a couple of times. It won't work." I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I should have just refunded and moved on, but I wanted to see what would happen would he return it. So I said, "Yeah, I'll, accept the return." And, and that was it. So of course he wrote item not as described because it doesn't work. So I had to pay the shipping back.
Yeah.
It gets back to me. It's opened, right?
Yeah.
I sold it new. There's a tab in there where you can click problem with the buyer. I've never done this before. I just wanted to see what would happen. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Yeah, item returned." And then it gives you a list of different things, what the problem was. I said, "Item returned and not the condition that I sold it. Item was opened or damaged." That's what it says. I click that. Then you can go up and click up to 50%, hold back 50% of the refund.
Okay.
I did that. Processed the refund minus the 50%, sent it. In the meantime, I think it was maybe 16 hours later, he opened a case. eBay reviewed the case and closed it and said, we are going to refund him the other 50%. Okay. And that was it. So I don't know. It said no reflection on you or your account. It's not going to come out of your account. And so that, I guess that's how it works. I've never done it before. So I'm sure he wasn't psyched, but come on, you can't buy a brand new DVD, open it up and send it back to me. He got his money. He got his full refund.
He should be happy. He got it.
He had to go through a couple steps. Mm-hmm. I guess I'll ask the viewers, do you do that? Do you use the 50%, hold on a return? Why or why not?
Well, I have just a few customer interactions that I had this week. I just listed a Harmon-Kardon speaker today. I tested it. I bought this last weekend, I think, and I'll show you what it looks like here real quick. This is what it looks like. It is sweet. It's just round. It's not very big. And I listed it for $129. And I get a message from a guy already. It says, "Is this still available?" And I'm like, if it's listed on eBay, it's available. All right. I sold this item. I don't want this to get boring, but this is an old inductor. I don't know what my offer was. I think $99. I took this, and it's like this old, I don't know, from the 1950s. Don't ask me what it does. It's something to do with ham radios. It's called a Gates, as you can see there. And I shipped it to the guy, and I packaged it pretty well. And when he got it, he said I think the 4 legs broke off or something. I don't know if it's ceramic or I don't know.
Looks cast.
I'm not going to return it, but I'm going to fix it because I really want it. And it was a good deal. So I don't know what I should have sold it for. Maybe a lot more, but he was keeping it. And then he's like, I'm having trouble finding the parts. And I'm like, I said, go after UPS. Just contact. If you think it was damaged in shipping, he said it had to be damaged because he thought I packaged it really well. So I said, go after UPS then, get all your money back. Then you got money to go buy it to fix it. So I don't know what it is, but I like to package things so that UPS can throw them across the room and they still won't break. But there comes a point where it's out of my hands and I have to trust that UPS isn't going to be stupid with it, which you can never trust that.
Nope.
Moving on to Time Machine, the segment that makes Dennis want to get up and dance. I won't ask him to dance today, but
I don't know. What did I do last week? Oh, shopping cart last week.
Shopping cart. You have another dance for us? You want to save it?
I mean, we did the sprinklers and all that, right? Didn't we do all those?
You've only done your one happy. I don't know.
Really? Like we did. There's 2 sprinklers, right? Okay. There's the ones that you had as a kid. That's the old school sprinkler. It looks like this.
Yeah.
Right. Remember those? And then the new school is. It's so easy to do on a swiveling chair.
Yep.
I'm ready. Let's go. We went with 1976.
1976.
76. Groovy.
Big year in our country.
Bicentennial. Yeah. I did not go with that, even though I collect bicentennial quarters.
Ooh.
Actually, they were just sitting here on the desk.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. I just collect them there. If you want to bring that up, I like to keep it with the toys because I love selling toys. But I found this, and this was really cool. I never knew this was something cool. Do you remember Stretch Armstrong?
Yep. A kid in my 4th grade class had one, brought it to school, and I think we broke it.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
That's what
they
you
are
try
possible
to do,
to break.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to be. But this one, came in the original box, $235 for that. This one blew me away. This has the original styrofoam in it, $700. There's knockoff ones like this monster one, but here's one. Look at this. This is beautiful with the instructions, the styrofoam, the box, everything, $500.
Wow.
This guy actually got his hands on the mold that they make them and paid, and somebody sold that for $500. But this is another item that you might find at a yard sale. You might find it at some place like that. This one sold for what was that? $300. And then there's other ones. For some reason, I remember this one, this monster one. I think my neighbor had it, and we always would.
Looks like the Hulk. It's not.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Whatever that is. Stretch Monster 1907. So here's a different one that they use, like a see-through one. Kenner Stretch X-ray see-through one.
Can you zoom in on that?
That one's graded, I guess. 4,500.
Wow.
That's it. So, I mean, it's probably what I'm going to go and grab. A couple of these things, leave them in the box. Because it looks like people want the box. I mean, here's just the instructions for $20.
Probably quadruples the price with the box.
Yeah. In fact, I would imagine the box is almost worth more than the toy.
Yeah.
So Stretch Armstrong. Super
nice.
cool.
Well, I went bicentennial related. I remember 1976, even though I was just a young, wee little lad. But the Freedom Train, I don't know if you've ever heard of this. I think it traveled across the Midwest and stopped in a bunch of small towns. It had like a replica, I think, of the Liberty Bell in it, and it just traveled around, and then communities would all come out and pay money to tour the train, then it would go on to the next town the next day, and then the next, or sometimes 2 or 3 towns in one day. So that was like a big thing. So I'm like, I remember doing that. I think my family, I'd have a picture of it somewhere in the archives. But I'm like, what can I buy Freedom Train related that would be worth some money? And I found the HO scale, that H or N scale. Okay. Well, they made replicas of the Freedom Train. And this one sold for $405. And
wow.
So I would buy this one, and it's not new, I don't think. No. Can I zoom in? Yeah. So I don't even know if it says, it says Freedom Train right there with the presidential seal on it. So yeah. And then shortly after, like maybe a year later, it caught on fire and the whole thing burned up. So that was like,
sorry, that's
yeah. So if you go out and research it, the fire, it's so funny, Dennis. What is so funny? People might have got hurt.
That was wrong. That was wrong.
Yeah.
You're like, and a year later, the thing caught on fire and burned to the ground. So, if you didn't see it in that 1 year, you will never get to see it again unless they rebuild it. Speaking of trains, I did go to the National Train Museum last weekend with my son. We got passes from the library, and those are pretty cool. I didn't put any pictures on Instagram, but it's full-size trains. And wait,
it's all
Pennsylvania. Second time you've gone?
First, well, I've been there before with my parents, like many, many years ago. We went to the Toy Train Museum last month a couple times. So this is full-size trains. This is a massive museum. Wow. Yeah. It's all like the history of Pennsylvania railroads. And they probably have 50 or more trains and carts and all the different brands of engines that from the 1800s, because the railroad kind of started in Pennsylvania. We have in Strasburg, where I live, they have a train. You can take a train ride on the oldest active train in the United States.
Oh, wow.
That's still going today. So I've done it before when my parents came out from Ohio. We did that as a touristy thing one time with them. It just goes like 4 miles down the tracks, then turns around and comes back. The place where it turns around is the place where President Lincoln made a big speech in Pennsylvania. If you follow the Civil War, I think I was watching The Blue and the Gray, and the opening scene was Lincoln making a speech, and that took place right at the exact spot where this train turns around. So it's kind of history in the making. Yeah. So I'm buying that train, a bunch of them in the box, putting it in a big tub. I don't know how big the tubs were in 1976, but I'm buying the biggest one.
I'll probably buy a couple of those too, and then maybe, my first sale
of the day.
I'll probably buy a bunch of them, and then maybe take a lighter to it to have it look authentic somehow. I don't know, a custom.
Yeah. So you can look it up on. I'm sure there's probably a YouTube video about the Freedom Train burning up somewhere out there. Let's go to story time. Dennis, you got a conclusion to your story. Kind of remind us what you were talking about.
This was a private pick that I was invited to go, and he's a self-proclaimed hoarder, and he wasn't lying. So I'm looking around, I'm finding some horror VHS, I'm finding some video games, and then I look down and there's 2 Macintosh tube amps just sitting on the ground of this gross bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? So my heart is leaping out of my chest because I know exactly what it is. And
are they just like the ones you had before, or a little different?
No, these are the older ones with the tubes and the big lights.
Tubes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So in my head, I'm like, this is probably between $3,000 and $4,000 because I know that's the range.
Yeah.
Each.
I
look down. He notices me looking down at him. He goes, I got the box over there for those. And then he had the original shipping boxes and everything. And I said, is this something you'd be willing to sell? And he knew exactly the model, when he had them serviced. He knew exactly how much they were. And there was no money. He wanted retail for them. And I'm like, I'm not even going to try because I know you want top dollar. He goes, yeah. He goes, I was into them for a long time. And he had all these old time speakers and a Marantz receiver. Marantz is another great name.
Yeah.
And then he had an older Onkyo made in Japan and had the big silver face on it, but he wasn't willing to budge. He was not doing yard sale prices on those.
Yeah.
So
you didn't say, well, I will give you, if you want cash, I will give you $1,000 right now. or would you not have?
Yeah,
paid
no, I would have absolutely, because it's great resale on those. People look for those all the time. But he was like, no, he's like, I think I'm going to keep them. I'm like, all right, call me if you change your mind.
Sometimes money talks, Yeah.
Well, I think I'm holding off because he has to move. I know he has to move, right?
Yeah.
So then desperation is going to come in, and then it's like, yeah, bring it on. So he's gonna be digging out in that back bedroom that we couldn't even get into more video games. He's got a couple of Sega Genesis systems, tons of games, a couple of Nintendo systems, tons of games.
Man.
Gave him my business card, and he's like, "Yep, I'll call you." I was like, "Awesome, man. We'll keep in touch." So that was it. So yeah, that was great. I'm gonna list a whole bunch of that stuff this weekend, and hopefully get my week back together. So that's it.
Yeah, I probably would have offered him something just in case, but I would have had to like empty out my bank to do it. I don't know how quickly I would have sold it. It's like my helmet. It's a high risk, high reward.
Yeah. I only had a few $100s on me. I was not expecting to find that there too. Yeah. Like he had the receiver and the amp, like they were like the mating pair, and the boxes for them, the paperwork, but they were just sitting on the ground in this bedroom. Like, I'm like, you got to take care of these things. It's probably the most expensive thing in this house. And they're just sitting there.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you're killing me, bro. So, but I'll go back. I'll go back again. But he was weird. He's like, yeah, all these wrestling DVDs. He's like, those aren't for sale. I'm like, okay. That's fine. I'll take the horror VHS. How
many did you get?
And then all your video games. I got 10 VHS, probably 15 or 20 DS games, a couple of PS2 games, the PS2 system, the DS handheld system, a super cool, I don't know where it went, those Carnival back in the 70s and 80s. You get that, it's not Carnival glass, it's like the Carnival mirror with like the rock band on it. This one was sticks.
Oh, I had something similar to that, but it was I've had like one that says Camaro on it, and all. Those are the kind I bought when I went to the fair. Camaros, E28. Instead of buying ones that would have appreciated, like sticks. And there goes Dennis. Off he goes. It's different than the one I had. Oh, nice.
I don't know what sticks has to do with a wizard, but
they were into some weird stuff.
Okay. So yeah, that was it. So we threw it all into a bag. I paid $50 for the whole lot. And then we were talking off camera here, but already sold the PS2 and I already sold the DS, and I'm already in the money. So it was a good pickup.
You know what sticks means? It's in the Bible. It's the river to hell. There you go.
Great.
There you go. I've listened to Styx greatest hits, and I'm just like, they have like one or two. Mr. Roboto.
Two.
Yeah. Yep. Too much time on my hands and Mr. Roboto. If I went to their concert, I'd just be there for the musicianship of it. But because I think they're all really good musicians. But
don't they do Sail Away?
Come Sail Away. Yep, that was another one.
Come Sail,
That's on the greatest hits.
So we're up to three.
Three. I mean, I can name you probably a couple other ones. Babe. Anyhow, let's wrap this thing up, Dennis. Do you have any closing thoughts for us?
Well, even after a hard, kind of not where you want it to be type of week, make sure you're doing little things to make your business run better, make your sales go better. Do you need to adjust pricing? Do you need to list more? Do you need to, promote if you promote? Just little tiny things that you can do to tweak, your business to help it out. It's always worth the effort. Every time I go out every weekend, I try to not buy as if I'm desperate. You know what I mean? Like, wow, I could sell that for $10. No, let's raise the bar a bit, and that only helps in the long run.
Yeah.
Now you're selling things that are, $25 and then $30.
Yeah.
Instead of the $3 and $4 items that they clutter up your store, they clutter up your head. and they take too much of your time. So I'm trying to do some little things here to tweak. I'm going to list, normally I do 15 items. I'm going to do 20 to 25 for the weekend and just see what happens. Of course, if you list more, you're going to sell more. That's what I like to think.
Yeah.
But don't let it get you down. I mean, I'm not a pro at any of this. I'm not. I don't know all the answers, and if I have a crappy week, I'll tell you. But you just got to stick with it, and that's what it is. It's a roller coaster. I had 3 great weeks, like crazy good weeks, and then this is just a bump in the road, and then you just straighten yourself out and sell some quality items that people want. That's it. What do people want to buy? What do they buy? And keep finding those and keep listing those. So have a great weekend and have a great weekend.
A great yard sailing weekend wherever you live.
Yeah. I'm ready to hit it. And there's not a ton of yard sales, of course, because I don't know. I don't even know what's going on this weekend, but school is out. Parents are home. Hopefully they're going to be selling some stuff. And when we're done here, I'm going to make my yard sale list for tomorrow and hit it. Go to the beach, have a great weekend, spend some time with family. Happy Father's Day. And Father's Day is this Sunday. You guys are watching this on a Monday, but happy Father's Day to all you dads out there, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, happy Father's Day to you. I have a little riddle for you. When my son was 1 year old, it was my 3rd Father's Day. How is that possible?
Well, something to do with like grandfather, father, son, somewhere on there.
No. Yeah, you're going the wrong direction. That's right. My son was born on the Friday before Father's Day. And then I think the next year was a leap year, or then the next year he turned 1 on Father's Day, but the next year he turned 2 the day after Father's Day. So technically, on my 3rd Father's Day, he was still born.
Oh, that's true.
So, and now his birthday is this Monday again. So.